Hello, welcome back. We are in the process of building a really simple puzzle game, and in the last tutorial we got things textured and we were making sure things were moving, so the ball was coming down, and we got that interactivity of the collisions happening to make sure that that was happening as it should do. Now what I've done is I've done a little bit of background work to get us started, and I've set up the ball so that it will move around left and right, and I'm going to repeat the process now with you, going forward and backwards, so that you know how to do it. Otherwise it would be a bit repetitive in the tutorial, so I'm going to repeat what I've done exactly, but I'm going to do it with the ball. So just to see how it works at the moment, when I click play, my camera changes, we move to the ball, and if I press left and right, I can move the ball around, and if I press space, it stops the ball from moving, so it gives me kind of an instant break. I thought that was quite nice functionality, and obviously you could play around with all sorts of settings with this to try and get it working. So what did I do? Well, first of all, I set up a variable called speed x, which is the x left and right. So we're going to need to do the same thing, but we're going to use the z now, so we're going to use speed z. So what we do is we're down in this area here, we've got variables, conditions, animation and physics. We've already got the loop from animation, so I've already dragged that out onto here. I don't need to do it again. I can put everything into this one loop if I want to. So we will do that, so I'm not going to drag that again. The first thing I need to do is go and make this variable. So a variable is an item that we give a name to that controls a value of some kind. So in this case, it's going to control our value for the speed in direction z, and that's going to be plus and minus. And we're going to start it off with a value of 0. So we're going to put 0 in there as well. So I've dragged that out, filled that in. That's the first bit done. Now what I need to do is start building some of these if statements. So if a key is pressed, this is going to happen. So you can see it's green, going over to condition, and we've got if mouse, if joy pressed, if key pressed is here. Okay, we've got if button pressed, if collision, which is quite nice, we can use that another time. Okay, so I'm going to go right down to the bottom so that I've got a clear space, and I'll talk to you about the other thing in a minute. So there I've got if key pressed. So in this case, it's going to be if key pressed, and we're going to select the up arrow. So I'm going to click OK. So if key pressed up, and then I want it to do something. We are going to, if key pressed up, we're going to set it so the speed of z, speed z variable is, let's try minus 0.1 to begin with. Okay, so we're going to go back to variable, and we're going to go to set, not variable this time, set. I'm going to drag that over, click on it. We're looking for the variable, so we're going to our variables, and here we've got speed z. Click OK, and I'm going to put a value of minus 0.1. We'll see if that works. I haven't tried it yet, so we'll see if that works. So I'm going to click play, leave it as it is, click play, and when I press the up key, oh, it's not working. Left and right is working, but the up key and down key is not working. So let's go and have a look at what's happened there. So I've got speed z equals, cancel. Speed z, what have I done wrong there? So if up, I've got it on set, speed z. Did I set the up key? I did. I know what it is. So the element that I've missed out is I need another impulse box. Impulse is the physics that makes this work, so I've forgotten that. So let's go and add another impulse box. So the impulse, you can see the impulse here was setting x to 1. So in this case, I'm going to set the z to 1, and everything else is going to stay at 0, apart from at the bottom, we're going to click power, we're going to go to the speed z, and click OK. So I just needed to set that little thing up. I could put zeros in these as well, that will just make those appear just so it's identical to the other one. You can see they're in different order, but apart from that it's the same. So let's give that a go now. Hopefully that will work now. Now I've not forgotten something. Yep, except it's going the wrong way, so I need to make it a positive and make the next one negative. So I'm going to click stop, Let's go down and find our if key pressed up, and I need to change that into a positive instead of a negative. Okay, so that's the positive done. So I'm just going to repeat that exactly the same, so that I've got if key pressed. If key pressed, I'm going to drag that out into the yellow area. I'm going to set the speed Z. You can see why this would be repetitive if I did all 4 values whilst you were watching, and 0.1, and then we will leave that as it is. Right, okay, so now hopefully, oh, we didn't put the key in. If key pressed, and I need to put down in here, down. It's easy to forget things, so it's always worth checking through, and it's always worth testing. So let's give it a test, see what happens now. So I've got left and right, we knew that was working. I can press space to stop. If I press up, it's going one way. If I press down, it's going the other. So this gives me some controls that I can now mix together. It's giving me some quite nice accuracy. And I can press Z to slow it down. So there's one thing that I've noticed here. So if I press, I can stop it in this direction, but it's not stopping it in the other direction. So let's have a look at the extra piece of code that I need to do that. Stop that. So what it is inside here I've got the space bar to stop motion. At the moment I've set the variable speed x to 0, so it's going to stop motion, and then I need to set this. So where I got that stop motion from was inside physics, so that just helps it to stop. And then I decided that I would add this, so I don't think I need that anymore, but I'm going to leave it in there. So in variables I need to set, and I just need to make sure I've added that set set Z. Okay, and let's set that to 0 as well. So that will stop any underlying speed from being present once we let go of spacebar. So if I move now and I press space, it does stop it again, as it did before. All right, so you'll probably have to pause the video a couple of times, go back through that, and make sure you've got it all sorted. But what we've got here is a working moving ball that's got some nice speed to it and some nice weight to it. So we'll have a look at some of the other options in the last video about what we could do with this to start to make it a bit more interesting.